A royal invitation. Ah, it's a pleasure as always. Andy, have you been able to relax lately? Yeah, for the most part. Wonderful. As busy as you've been with the rite of succession, among other things, you deserve an opportunity to experience Tuliolo at a more leisurely pace. Sampling the tacos at Zeblev Tay is one such way to do so. They're made the traditional way and laden with fillings. They're absolutely sublime. If you have an empty stomach, the owner, Brook Evu, will look after you. Are we gonna get tacos again? I'm down for more tacos, honestly. Well, if it isn't Andy, alone today, are you? For the moment. I see. If you have a hankering for tacos, then they're on the house. Consider it a token of gratitude for your help tracking down those treasures. Oh yeah, because we've done all the role quests are all finished. Go ahead and find a table. I'll bring you your meal as soon as it's ready. As we did all the role quest stories, so his dialogue must be a little different then. Oh, it's got the red shit and the green shit. Still tacos, I hope. You ate so many when you turned 5. You could barely move afterwards. Remember that? No, not really. That was 30 years ago for me. Right, sorry. It's still strange for me too. Just the other day you were a little boy cleaning your mother's skirt as you set off for Yasulani. Now you're a man grown with a face full of hair. Even so, I knew you were my son the instant I saw you. We're still family and you can always rely on me. Relying feels like the only thing I'm doing right now. On you and everyone else. I can't even start a fire without assistance at my new job. Back in Alexandria, we had electrope. If I needed fire, all I had to do was press a button. Everything was at our fingertips. But here I'm helpless, a culinarian who can't even light the stove. The way the others in the kitchen stared at me. Gods, I've never felt so embarrassed. Sorry to hear that. I've been told the tales, but it seems life is really different within the dome. My wife and children. I was thinking I'd have them join me once things had settled, but at this rate... I say you send for them. If they're your family, then they're mine too. I'll do whatever is necessary to make it work. I didn't mean to overhear, but it seems you're having trouble adjusting to life in Tuliolo. Vauklamat. To aid folk like yourself, we've established a support group at the Wing of Reflection. There you can learn the skills you need to live outside the dome. It isn't easy being back, I know, but I'm hopeful they can make things easier. That's exactly what I need. I'll definitely seek this group out. I'll bring my family with me. Thank you. Look who it is. I was just about to go and find you, Andy. You don't mind the company, I hope. I could use a bite to eat myself. To think, it only took saving the world to finally get those tacos. Oh, the tacos here never disappoint. So what have you been up to lately? Saving other worlds. You know, the usual. Exploring Tyrol with my trusty alpaca. I've been catching up on sleep. And helping around Waku Meki Meki. Working to recover some stolen artifacts. Making a name for myself at the Arcadium. That's more accurate. That's the last thing I really technically did. Fighting in the arena in Alexandria. Facing off against tough opponents, I'd wager you've honed your skills even further. For myself, I'm being kept busy with duties at the palace. Whenever I find a moment, I like to walk the streets and talk to the people. Sorry, my nose is running. That way I can better understand the problems they have and share them with Kona to figure out solutions. I was on one such walk just now, and as I mentioned, I was hoping to find you. Code and I have something we want to discuss with you. As non-servants. Do you have time to come to the palace? Well, now that I've finished my tacos. Great, I'll go on ahead. Please come and join us once you've finished here. Okay. Cloudy Strife. Pizza Pineapple. There's some funny ass names sometimes. Mr. Anonymous. Oh. That wasn't what I wanted. That was what I wanted. Wait, no, that's the one we want. Like, wait, where am I going? They're not gonna have me fight them. Man, last time I got invited up here, I had to fight people. Seems Kona's gone somewhere. Sorry. Mr. Andy, it's always an honor. Oh, Kona has stepped away to attend to a pressing matter, but he should join you within before long. Okay. Oh, hey, the homies are here. Oh, you're all here too. Well, Kona summoned us, though if truth be told, Alphino and I have been seeing him quite regularly of late. He asked us to share our knowledge of Hunnish culture, you see, in hopes of further strengthening your alliance. We were of course happy to oblige him. Kyle and I were likewise summoned. Otherwise, we've been carrying on with our work, compiling information on the Golden City. My grandfather embarked on his investigation 20 years ago. With our report, we shall finish what he started. Peepo happy. Lest you wonder, Thancred and Urianger have left to resume their tour of Tyrol. Ishtola, meanwhile, is back to researching Crossroads travel. She was here just a few days ago to get Kona's permission to investigate living memory. By the way, she mentioned wanting to take a look at the key in your keeping at some point. I'm sure she does. The look in her eye she had in her eyes was any indication. I suggest you brace yourself for when she comes calling. You're like to be stuck with her for a while. Thanks for the warning. As for Estinian, we know neither where he is or what he is doing. Some things never change. There's Kona. My apologies for the delay. Think nothing of it. We took advantage of the time to catch up. So what can we do for you? Hopefully the present company is enough for whatever it is you need. The matter for which I've summoned you pertains to Alexandria. A state funeral will soon be held in Solution 9 to mourn the passing of Queen Sphene. King Gululja and his administration have invited us to attend. While certain issues remain unresolved between our nations, such as the treatment of Yasselani, I see no reason not to attend. For generations, the Alexandrians lived without even the awareness of death. I wouldn't have expected them to have funeral rites still. Apparently, the members of Oblivion unearthed records of ceremonies that were conducted in the Alexandria of old. It was they who put forth the proposal that the Queen be thus honored. Leave it to that lot to think of such things. People of Alexandria no longer forget the departed. They're being confronted with the idea of death for the first time. I suspect our friends wanted to do something for them. Josephine was but a simulacrum. She was nonetheless a pillar for her people. The pain of her passing must run deep. Let's look at the bright side of things, at least. This time I had to invade a foreign entity, take down its leadership to save our world, and they didn't end up our enemies this time. Indeed, a funeral will give Alexandrians the chance to come together to express their grief, that they might overcome it. I wasn't sure at first, but I've decided to go. Not only to be there for Gluljah, but to put this chapter behind us. I requested your presence was none other than to see if you wished to attend the funeral. You knew Sphene as well, after all. I did kill her, after all. That would be inappropriate. Yeah. I do kind of wonder if this story had taken a different path, honestly. You and me both, but we made our choices and are responsible for what comes of them. As vow, I'll attend the funeral in official capacity. I owe it to the Alexandrian people to bear witness to their grief. I'd like it if you could be there to watch over everything, like you did all through the rite of succession. Yeah, why not? I feel the rest of us should go too. Regardless of the reason, the fact remains that we deprived Alexandria of a beloved ruler. We did do that, didn't we? It's only right that we remember who Sphene was to her people and to others. So let us stand with you. And as decided, let's head to Solution 9 and look for Gluljah in the back room. Crossroads. Oh shit, we're going back to the Barrens, chat. Though I too would ideally attend the funeral, given the circumstances, I think it's best that Lamati represents us. Besides, I need to be on hand to oversee the city's repairs, which is taking longer than expected. When that work is complete, we will finally look into installing new thrones. But to have Father's throne here still, makes me feel he is close by. I'm quite happy for it to remain for a while. What's left of it, at least. Alright, to Solution 9. I don't have to walk there. I forget where are the back rooms here again? Oh, it's over there. Okay, yeah, it's in the bar in the back there. The Neon Stein. Well now, how good of you to come and see me again. You're always welcome at the Neon Stein, adorable. And in the back room? Yes. Thanks, Tassos. It's other Geralt. Hey, you ever heard of the Rodina Consortium? I absolutely can't stand that lot, let me tell you. That's why I give the Nexus Arcade a wide berth. Even the residential district's too close for me liking, so I just crash here. So this is one of the few. The Geralt and Rowena on the first are the exception, not the rule. Those are the only ones that get along apparently. It's good of you to come. We're expecting a large attendance for the funeral. The venue isn't like to hold everyone at once, but the altar will remain for those who couldn't be present during the ceremony. We ourselves plan to go to pay our respects afterwards. Glad to see the invitation reached you. As you may have heard, we were able to find data on forgotten funeral customs amidst old records. It appears to have been preserved by those who ruled the loss of culture due to the proliferation of regulators. We're grateful for their foresight. Only someone had the foresight to preserve culture back then. It's the little homie. Ah, you came for the funeral. Of course. I'm the only one who will officially take part, though, and the others will watch over the proceedings. So, how have you been? It's been a while since my last visit. I'm good. Shayla's always teaching me new things. Recently, I've learned about Everkeep systems and the mechanical soldiers. Knowledge I'll need to use my authority properly. Studious as always, I see. By way of a treat, I've brought you gâteau au chocolat. It's a kind of cake. I think you'll like it. Thank you, Lamati. Thank you for coming. I've never been to a funeral before, so I feel less nervous having you here. Of curiosity, what's the custom in Alexandria? In our world, it's common to offer flowers to the departed. It's much the same here, according to the records. Flowers will be distributed to all attendees. Considering that all the worlds used to be one, the practice of offering flowers may well share the same ancient origin. Fascinating, wouldn't you say? Yeah, I didn't have a hand in causing that in some weird time-space continuum debacle, not at all. The whole thing with Nimia lilies. We did a side quest for back in Elpis. Catfish pie. That sounds good as fuck, actually. I haven't had a good fish fry in a really long time. Galul Jaja got added to the lore book. Well, hang on a second. Where is he? Oh, we got a whole bunch of stuff in here now. Galul Jaja. The foremost feature of his striking appearance, Galul Jaja's two heads are a characteristic unique to the Mamulja's blessed siblings. Rare individuals born of a union between the brown-scaled Hubigo and the blue-scaled Bunua. These two-headed marvels inherit both the Hubigo's robust strength and the Bunua's arcane affinity, maturing into warriors of unrivaled martial prowess. The Mamulja have previously sought to force this miracle, desiring advantage in their historical conflict against the Zabral. But the commingling of the Hubigo and Bunua lines was fraught with complications. For every healthy blessed sibling born, 100 infants failed to survive. Before Galul Jaja's feet, too, were set firmly on the path of war, he was fortunate to encounter the Eorzean explorer Ketenram. The friendship he forged with the outsider opened his eyes to the world beyond the forest, encouraging him to depart Mamuk and its restrictive traditions. He traveled far and wide across the lands of Tyrol, meeting the diverse races and cultivating new companions along the way. His was a tale of unprecedented adventure which culminated in the defeat and imprisonment of Valagarmonda, the Sky Ruin. Following these accomplishments, Galul Jaja returned to Yoctel with his comrades in tow, whereupon they challenged the warring Mamulja and Zabral forces. The Two Heads Fellowship thoroughly humbled both armies, leading a cessation of hostilities and a lasting peace. Word of Valagarmonda's defeat and the end of the Yoctel War spread swiftly to every corner of the continent. The philosophy of cooperation, espoused by Galul Jaja, begat a rising tide of like-minded sentiment, paving the way for the foundation of Tuliolol and elevating him to the position of Dawn Servant. As the new nation's ruler, his bold and ebullient right head would lead their armies as the vow of resolve, while his wise and benevolent left head would govern their myriad peoples as the vow of reason. Under this balanced leadership did he henceforth guide the fledgling federation into a state of great prosperity. As the two-headed Mamulja, Gulul Jaja was thought incapable of siring children. Some decades after his ascension to the throne, however, the Dawn Servant was blessed with the arrival of a son, Zoralja. And as if precipitated by this unprecedented event, Gulul Jaja went on to adopt the orphan Kona and Wuklamat, one promptly after the other. With the royal family thus expanded, the Dawn Servant turned his hand to raising his high heirs, the first, second, and third promises. Yet even to the greatest of potentates cannot outrun old age forever. Unwilling to allow his inevitable passing to plunge the nation into chaos, Gulul Jaja took inspiration from the old ways of Mamuk and to devise a rite of succession. He watched over Wuklamat and Kona as they became joint rulers of Tuliolal, and it was during the ascension ceremony that he confirmed their suspicions. The constantly slumbering head of reason had passed quietly from this world some 3 years before. Gulul Jaja's saga came to a tragic end when the soldiers of Alexandria later attacked the capital. The former Dawn Servant faced off against the invasion force's commander, his own son, Zoralja, in single combat, seemingly defeating the treacherous promise. Using regular technology, however, Zoralja arose stronger than before and slew his father in cold blood. Comprised of two great land masses, Zaktaral, the northern lands of the father, and Yaktaral, the southern lands of the mother, the continent of the New World lies far to the west of Eorzir's shores. Its many diverse peoples spent centuries mired in territorial wars until the epic deeds of Gulul Jaja and his dreams of Tuliolal saw them united under the banner of a single nation some 80 years ago. This age of peace would endure until the unquiet days which followed the rite of succession. Scarcely had Wuklamat and Kona ascended the throne when the new vows were faced with an unusual crisis: the abrupt appearance of an enormous dome of energy over Yasalani. It was then that a mechanical army led by Zoralja, the true son of the former Dawn Servant, emerged from the glowing structure and launched an assault upon the capital of Tuliolal. Upon investigating, the dome was found to contain a fraction of a shard world fused with the local region. The reflection's partial rejoining caused a temporal anomaly. Its nature such that while mere moments had passed outside, those trapped within had lived through 30 years. During those lost decades, Queen Sphene, ruler of the dome's people, joined hands with Zoralja. Together they built the kingdom of Alexandria anew, and in a bid to put under aether from other worlds, orchestrated the invasion which brought such panic and destruction to Tural. Although the Warrior of Light was able to aid the newly ascended Dawn Servants in defeating the immediate threat, the dome itself persists, as do the issues surrounding the repatriation of those native to Yasalani. The rite of succession was a contest held by Tuliolal's first Dawn Servant, Gulul Jaja, to determine a worthy successor to his throne. He permitted 4 candidates to participate in the rite: his firstborn son Zoralja, his adopted children Kona and Wuklamat, and the winner of the Grand Melee Tournament, the two-headed Bakul Jaja, who was the only competitor not part of the royal family. The conditions for victory required the hopefuls to find the legendary City of Gold, breaking the seal the Dawn Servant had placed at its entrance. However, it would require the acquisition of 7 keystones, which could only be earned by retracing the steps Gulul Jaja once walked to unite Tural's peoples. Along the way, the candidates would encounter 7 electors, each waiting to award a keystone to those who performed a chosen feat to their satisfaction. On the surface, this overwrought process seemed designed solely to indulge Gulul Jaja's love for competition. But it served a deeper purpose. By forcing the candidates to interact with the electors, also elders of the various clans, the Dawn Servant hoped to impart a greater understanding of Tuliolal's diverse cultures and history, and in so doing, cultivate a fitting heir to his title. Alright, now that we've caught up on our lore. I've been in the back room before. There was no time to see the sights. I should like to take a closer look at the equipment. The boss said he didn't always want a somber funeral, so we celebrated his life together with our victory. I'm sure he would have loved it. I'd like to think he was watching us from the world beyond, filling his cup every time we filled our own. We proposed the funeral. The royal administration took on the brunt of the planning. One of their number can better explain what the ceremony will entail. The people take it on themselves to organize and hold the funeral. It speaks to their enduring love for Sphene. A group that plotted to undermine the tyrant king from the shadows to one that aids their fellow citizens in the open. Oblivion has come a long way. It's a relief to see the Ghoul Jaw is doing well. It's been through too much for one so young. Flowers are being handed out at Praxis Park. Thinking of heading over there now. We'll join you. There's a man I would like to speak with, Ghassan. He was apparently Sphene's aide and the one who sent us the invitation. Come on, let's go. To Praxis Park, then. I have to wonder how much, like, a place like this, if this ever existed, like, in real life, with all this lighting, I have to wonder how badly this would hurt your eyes. I've wondered that since we got here. Ulamon's attendance will surely help strengthen relations between the two nations. I get the strong impression that both Tuliolol and Alexandria wish to put this tragic past behind them. Makes sense that Sphene had loyal aides such as Ghassan, given how much time she dedicated to walking among her people. It appears souls are still being issued. Supply must be limited now that they're no longer being harvested. The grim faces in the queue tell the tale. Judging from all the activity, I presume the funeral will be held here. All correspondence was being handled by the Wing of Reflection, so this is my first time speaking with Ghassan. Here he is, Ghassan. Why, I'm Val Wuklamat, Tuliolol. Thank you for extending us an invitation to Queen Sphene's funeral. We are honored, truly. I had seen you before from a distance, but never had the pleasure. I'm Ghassan, former chief aide to the Queen. Since her passing, I have been responsible for administering state affairs of state. Can we get our flowers here? Yes, Your Majesty. The flowers are being handed out at the counter yonder, alongside the regulators. What? We need to wear regulators for the funeral? Rest assured, they're not a requirement. We're aware your people do not use them. You see, people in the Alexandria of old wore tokens of mourning upon their persons when attending funerals. As such tokens were black, it was suggested that we might wear regulators painted the same color. We've yet to produce enough for everyone, but we're distributing them as we are able. I see. Yet regulator know the important thing is that we remember Queen Sphene. Remember her and her kindness as you make an offering of your flower. I will. The proceedings will soon begin in the plaza. Please take your place once you have your flower. Melancholic, isn't it? The whole damn city's here. We haven't really get to this for Garlemald yet, have we? Pausers?
Although we are gathered here for the same reason, we hail from different lands. Some were born and raised in the Alexandria of old, while others came to us from Tuliolal. It was from this union of diverse peoples that a new Alexandria was born. The only home that our younger generation knows. How did we overcome the barriers between us? What moved us to join hands in common purpose beneath crackling skies? You know the answer. We survived. We thrived because Queen Sphene brought us together. Inspired and encouraged by her boundless kindness, we strove to be better, for ourselves as well as those around us. And in Her Majesty's absence, there is a sadness beyond words. Yet we must. We will remember her. Remember all the good that she has done for us. So let us pray, as the people of the Old Kingdom once did, for the peaceful repose of the departed. And let us keep our beloved Queen forever in our hearts, that her memory might guide us unto the morrow. Would that I could find solace in my own words.
Fucking Nimia lilies. Like that we ended up being the person who named that makes such a weird, like, continuity error. It's really funny. Yeah, we called those Nimia lilies. No, wait, I guess they were always called that. Wait, but if I just called them that in the past, uh-oh. It is one of my favorite side quests that exists, and it's really funny. This is not how time travel works. But it's also exactly how time travel works. So little.
Was Queen Sphene taken to the cloud?
She must have been. To still remember her is strange, isn't it, darling?
I miss her. She would always cheer me up when I was down.
Didn't we save this kid's life at some point?
But even though I remember her, I'll never see her again. That doesn't make sense.
It seems that's what it means to die, I'm afraid.
Come face to face with mortality. That is a difficult conversation to have even with just a child.
But what will happen to us? Are we just going to be sad forever?
Oh no. We learned last expansion you can't just be super sad. If you let yourself be super sad, the whole world ends.
Everything that we have, we owe to Queen Sphene. How are we to go on without her?
I still remember Her Majesty so clearly. If only I didn't, I might feel better about the future of our realm.
Perhaps we should also consider moving to Tuliolo. The journey won't be easy, but it'd be better than staying here in uncertainty.
Oh, look how common, like, very bold neon-colored hair is in this city. It's still a detail I think is very interesting.
In times like these, I take comfort in the beliefs of a Turali people called the Yokui. To them, death isn't the end. So long as we're remembered, we never truly die. It could be the same for Queen Sphene, you know? If you keep her alive in your hearts, she'll always be with you.
But we still won't be able to see her, right? I don't want to think about that.
And thus did the people of Alexandria adopt the Day of the Dead.
I wish I could just forget instead of having to feel like this.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to impose. Please, mourn your queen however you see fit. As expected, they struggle to come to terms with their loss. I hope they can find a way to move forward.
It's not only grief that weighs on them, but worry for the future. Bereft of their queen, how will they proceed?
True. But with that at least, we're not powerless to help. What is it, Guloja?
He's doing a big think.
I was wondering, is it better to remember or forget someone when they're dead?
Waxing philosophical, I see.
And every time I think of him, it hurts. It's the same with Queen Sphene. Knowing that she's gone makes me feel sad. But it's different with my mother. I never knew her, so I don't feel as bad. I want to remember my father, but maybe I'd be better off forgetting him.
Guloja.
Why don't we continue this somewhere else?
Somewhere a bit less somber. Seems a good place to continue our conversation. Simply leaving Alexandria won't solve all their problems, I fear. The problem runs deeper than that. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought that up. No, it was a good idea. It was wise to bring that up, actually. You were already a step ahead of most people. Hope the altar can provide comfort to those who need it. Seeing that child reminded me of myself, of how hard it was for me to accept that grandfather was gone. That sadness is what gave me the strength to come this far. I would never choose to forget it. Never. Where are we? Oh, we're outside the commerce sector. I'm like, I don't even recognize this spot. I'm never here. Hey, Gululja, you really know nothing at all about your mother. She'll search the system for information on residents, but the only Mamulja she found listed were my father and me. Even if she died and was erased from people's memories, she should have been there, but she wasn't. Well, that you're here means she was here too, inside the dome. There can't be any other way about it. Do you want to know your mother? I think so. Even if it makes me feel sad, I want to know her. So I want to try looking again. If I don't find anything this time, I'll give up. I see. Well, if that's what you want. Then I'll help you. I like to help as well. I believe I speak for the others too. But I can't bother you with this. You already came for the funeral. We came here not only for the funeral, but to see whether all was well in Alexandria. We're not about to leave just yet. Besides, in seeking to learn about your mother, we're bound to learn about your father as well. By retracing the steps of this man who kept his own counsel, we may gain knowledge that can serve the people of Alexandria. Alright, thank you everyone. People happy. I very much relate to his feelings. I pray Gululja finds what he seeks. Might learn more about my father too. I hadn't thought about that. I understand all too well Gululja's desire. For the longest time I found my own father's actions inexplicable. If no record remains of Gululja's mother, then where do we begin our search? It's a great question. That's what Gululja wants, and I'll help him however I can. After all, we're family. I ain't got friends. I got family. Assuming neither memories nor records of Gululja's mother remain, we must cast as wide a net as possible. I suggest we split into groups. And if you could make inquiries outside on the outskirts, the rest of us will do the same in Solution 9. Okay. I'll go outside then. A bit of fresh air may do me some good. Still definitely a situation of, are we the baddies? Definitely one of those situations of, well, we beat the bad guys, but why do we feel like the assholes for it? Sorry, but I've never heard of a Mamulja woman living in these parts, much less one connected to Zeralja. I've had better luck talking to the people over at the Towatawan settlement to the north of Everkeep. It's a place called Uawata. Resilient Sun won their loyalty when he saved them from some crisis or another, or so the story goes. If I remember correctly, their chief's name was Kanaloka. What about Zeralja's devoted? Notes concerning a settlement located in Uatswada, whose people are said to be fiercely loyal to their king. Well, you know what? I probably have capped gemstones real quick. Why don't we check and see if there's anything I can buy with them? Well, we don't have this yet. We have Otis's card. We can buy boxes. think that's just the day and night music for this region. I don't see anyone else to talk to, though. The circle's not very big. Oh, here we go. Looking for Mamulja woman. Oh, Galulja's mother. Can't help you there, I'm afraid. I only know a little about Zeralja, and then only what my father told me. He said that before the dome cut us off from the outside world, a Tural Vidral had appeared and was terrorizing the region. In response, Zeralja assembled a party of warriors, and with them confronted and felled the beast. It was interesting to hear the king's feat in the past. Yeah, I remember that, because that was early on in the story that happened. The Mulja woman? The people have never been a common sight around here. Why, the last time I saw one would have been before the dome came down over our heads. She was among an entourage of Landsguard that was dispatched here. I assume they all returned to Tuliolal after their mission. But if any remained, I suppose they could have been trapped in here with the rest of us. Doo-doo-doo. Boo. I thought they got rid of the separated regions like this. Which one? Oh, Neonstein. Return to the back rooms. There's all the homies. Oh, you're back. I told Shale all about your search. Zeralja rarely made a public appearance. The people had no idea how he spent most of his time, yet I believe therein lies the key to the answers we seek. Solution 9 is vast indeed. Even with the teleporters, we could cover but a small portion of it. Sorry, but I couldn't find anything useful. None of the people I questioned had heard of a Mamulja woman before. Limity didn't seem to have much luck. How did you fare? Without learning directly related to Galulja's mother, I did find information which may shed some light upon Zeralja. Okay. Glue just told me all. We previously tried to track down records of his mother, but came up empty-handed. With everyone's help, hopefully we can get somewhere this time. Here's my random notes I took. Oh, so you spoke with quite a few different people as well. Let's combine all our findings and see what conclusions we might draw. Okay. So Zeralja brought a retinue of Landsguard to Yasolani, among whom was a female Mamulja. His mission was to rid the region of a Tural Vidral, and I believed it safe to say that that was the crisis, and Yawatwa he resolved. I don't know how to pronounce that. Some of his troops stuck around for a time, perhaps to assist the villagers with recovery efforts, then they could have indeed gotten trapped in the dome. I also heard stories about the settlement in Uruata. People lived there until nearly a decade ago, and Zeralja made regular visits. If he required secrecy, a location home to his most loyal followers would be ideal. And if this Mamulja woman had remained there, they would have had occasion to come in contact. I see, but what could Zeralja have been doing in that village? I think we can answer that question. In order to retrace Zeralja's steps, Raha and I spoke with a researcher who worked at Orgenics. He said that approximately 20 years ago, a number of his colleagues were transferred to a research facility outside Everkeep per the King's direct order. That's the first I've heard of such a facility. Only Vanguard was believed to have been under the King's jurisdiction. It was apparently being used to develop a new kind of weapon, but I'm afraid that's all we could learn. There's plenty to go on. Even if the work there was classified, any materials and equipment needed would have been manufactured within Everkeep. So if we look into transportation records, we can find out what they were shipping there. There it is. The routes are full of detours and attempts of obfuscation, but large deliveries are being made to Yatsuwada. Far too large for a mere village. There hasn't been any activity for years, though. It's likely the facility has been decommissioned. Do you think that's where my mother was? Can't say for certain just yet, but I reckon there's a good chance. It's amazing. Even though no one remembers her, you managed to figure all this out. Pretty good at this kind of thing. Each piece of the puzzle may reveal a little on its own, but when we put several together, a picture begins to form. And even should memories fade, footprints remain to mark the path of those who walked before. A lesson I learned in another life. So we'll be investigating the secret facility in Uetswada yet. And this time, I want to come along, Galulja. Uetswada is on the other side of the lake. To get there, you'll need to take a hover cargo for drift downs. Alright, thank you, Shale. To the drift downs. Oh, I broke my cast bar apparently. All the defective turrets right outside of town like that. It's extremely dangerous, don't you think? Well, the researcher we spoke with remembered that he had colleagues. He couldn't recall details about any specific individuals, not their names nor what they were like. Someone would have noticed if Zeralja traveled from the Drift Downs. I expect he utilized a flying vehicle. We've seen how much has changed for the part of Yasselani on this side of the dome. I wonder what it's like on the other. Weapons developed in secret with the aid of devoted followers. Nothing good will have come of this. Settlement in the outskirts. That was originally Town as well, yes? I wonder if Yatsawada is similar to it. I'm right nearby after dropping you off. Just let me know when you're ready to head back. Okay. So the hover cargo will take us across the lake. I've never been over there before. Still inside the dome, so I don't expect it to be too different from here. We'll likely encounter dangerous beasts, so the rest of us will go first. You follow when it's safe to do so, okay? Alright, be careful everyone else. It's dungeon time. You would want a field station, huh? Register for duty. It's just easier to do it this way. When you're doing it for the first time, it's just easier to do it this way. If the homies were around, we could have an actual group go. They're all lightning charged. This is definitely the content I enjoy a lot more, is the dungeons. That was neat. I wonder why I only get that other ability like once in a while. I wonder if it has to do something with the with Arcane Circle. I don't actually know. I have no idea how that actually works. I just know to hit that button when it's up. We're making it through. The Lindblom Zagnol. Got the Surge Tankian tusks going on there. Doing a caber toss? I think that might have been late. There we go. A hat of healing, huh? Can't even use it anyway. Oh, this gear's not even going to be an upgrade for what I have. What is this? There's a facility here, isn't there? Oh, we got research notes. While His Majesty Zeralja is not the first to conceive of transferring the beast's soul into a person's body, safety and ethical concerns have ensured no earnest attempts have been made to date. Yet our king believes that there is no greater evil than to hinder the potential of man, and so he has ordered us to make this contraption a reality. It would bolster our military might and break through into the outside world. If our research will further this ambition, then perhaps it is worth pursuing. Also, this must have been where they developed what we've been doing with the Arcadian. Ugh. That's a lot of blood. Bodies are fragile vessels. Although the infusion of another person's soul confers strength and vitality, the soul of a beast yields mixed results. Even when stripped of memories, a feral's soul can induce psychological instability in the subject. I suspect this is because primal instincts remain, and while a certain amount of bestial ferocity is expected, and I dare say welcomed, too many such souls can lead to physical mutations. For now, our objective shall be to determine the threshold beyond which a body is at risk of uncontrolled mutation. Oh. Not a big fan of that. Okay, zombies are back to being corpses. Got a ring. Are the rings pretty cool? Yeah, the rings are pretty cool. I might keep these. Oh! Rate of transfiguration may be detected by the potency of the soul consumed. We've experimented with fiends of great power, but mutations were observed after the infusion of merely a single soul. No better was this phenomenon illustrated than with poor Atticus. His body was altered irreparably, and lost all capacity for rational thought. While the primary objective of this research was to utilize the soul of a Tyrell Vidral, I struggled to see a path forward. An alternative approach must be considered. Oh. Ugh. The source of our failures thus far has been the inability of our bodies to contain feral souls. What if we were to reverse the process? By purging a beast of its memories and infusing it with a man's soul, when still possessed of his own memories, we stand to gain absolute control over a vessel of great power. My subordinate who first proposed this brilliant hypothesis shall have the honor of being the first to transcend our meager limits. I must prepare his soul for extraction at once. Oh. Pretty heinous shit was going on in here, huh? Oh, I think these are from the raid last time around. I recognize these now. I have these already. We don't have to keep these. Overseer Canaloka. Shit. This is gonna take a few attempts. That mechanic is fucking awful. That mechanic is awful. you do this. God, that mechanic sucks. Hope we only have to do that the one time. Get down. No, not right now. No. Mizuki, get off my desk. Get down. No, get off the desk. What the hell, cat? Do not want to have to redo this fight. Jeez. Those are nice. It's a shame none of these pieces are dyeable. What the hell? A sprightly stone. What makes them sprightly? Like, what about this creature is sprightly? Okay. We're to fight Tyrell Vidral, aren't we? Oh. Oh. Looney Piatti. Fucking were-rabbit. It's a fucking Courage the Cowardly Dog enemy, wasn't it? Wasn't this the thing Courage dealt with in the Courage the Cowardly Dog cartoon? Oh, those were were-moles. It's a weremole, you twit. The only way to deal with it would be to find a were-rabbit. So I don't know where you're going to find one of those. Good luck. I don't... thing loves its area denial, doesn't it? Cat, seriously, get the fuck off my desk. No, get down. God damn it. Intent on making me refight all these bosses, aren't you? Kind of hoping that was going to do more damage, but it didn't. Okay, we did it. It's kind of annoying with the whole middle of the room just gone. Killed a lot of these Tyrol Vidrols, haven't we? Gaskins of Maiming, huh? They're quite shiny. Okay, dungeon complete.
For all the talk of my brother felling this beast, he only imprisoned it, like Vali Armanda.
Is it not dead?
From what I could tell, they sought to transfer people's souls and memories into bestial vessels at that facility. The Tyrol Vidral explains the need for a remote location. It was doubtless their prime subject. Though I expect Zoralja did not foresee the opportunities it presented when he imprisoned the creature.
Oh. Migraine time. Anyone have some Tylenol?
And so, in order to prevent the breakdown of the individual, I instead seek to transfer their soul into the body of the beast.
This would allow one to wield the power of a Tyrol Vidral.
In theory.
Our initial experiments will involve lesser creatures, but in time, I am confident we will be able to bring even the mightiest under our control.
This Thanos looking ass.
And what becomes of those who offer their souls?
As they won't be able to return to their original forms, we must consider them lost. But the sacrifice will be worthwhile, for the army you stand to gain will far surpass any composed of mechanical soldiers.
Very well. Recruit volunteers and begin at once.
Thank you, Your Majesty. I shall return to the observatory and see to the necessary preparations.
So, you've given him permission.
What do you want?
Teshalja, you will assist
Stop.
Kaniroka. As one of the Landsguard's finest chirurgeons, your knowledge may be of use in his experiments. You will also watch him closely. In what you learn, you will report to me. You object to his project? Or are you incapable of performing this duty?
No, Your Majesty. Whether we shelter within the dome or expand beyond it, we require great power. But with no one to rely upon, we must take that power for ourselves, even if the means are questionable. I will do as you command. But if Kaniloka's work bears fruit, I wish to beg a boon.
What do you desire?
Something that I had accepted I would never have in Tuliolal. That I believed would forever be beyond me. That it was foolish to covet. But here and now, it is close. So very, very close.
Oh.
Perform your duty to my satisfaction, and anything you desire is yours.
This is not where I expected this to go at all.
That which I seek does not lie within this dome. Here, I cannot prove the miracle. But if what you seek is at hand, then you may claim it, for it has no value to me.
I'm very confused. There are things the Echo shows you. There are sometimes things you are like, oh, that's cool to know. Then there are other times,
Are you alright?
Heidelin, you son of a bitch. Why did you show me that? No, Clement, I think I need therapy. Lots and lots of therapy. So I found out who Wuklama, who is Galulja's mother is. And I'm not going to repeat any other part of it in front of him.
Would she be my mother?
Like the people in the outskirts said, few Mamulja lived in Yasulani. I can't imagine many other Ubico women were trapped in the dome. That being the case, She could well be the one.
This observatory Kanaloka returned to, could it not be part of the research facility? We might learn something about Teishalja there.
Was not expecting. I'm extremely horny for you, and I will literally do actual humanitarian crimes to bear your child. Honey, do you understand how fucked up that is? You understand how fucked up that is?
That's where we're going next then.
There ain't no dick that's worth that much. There ain't no dick worth that. I will commit crimes against creation for you to fucking plow me into the fucking bed frame. Bruh. What? Excuse me? The dangers behind us, it started sinking in just how unsettling this place is. Hard to believe it used to be a village. You should be able to peer into the Tural Vidral's past. I wonder what that implies for the beast's consciousness while it was sealed away. Yeah, you know, Cryle, there's a lot of problems with this whole place. There's a lot of problems with this. Seems Kanaloka was in charge here. From your recounting, he was quite dedicated to Zeralja. Villagers were likely monitoring the imprisoned Tural Vidral at Zeralja's behest. At some point, they became involved in the research of souls. Teishalja, you said her name was. I wonder what her story is. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. Wish I could see into the past like you. Then I could see people who are gone. You don't want this, Skullja. You think you want this. You don't want this. There aren't any other Mamulja women here. For a long time, I couldn't even imagine what my mother looked like. When I visited Tuliola and saw some, I was finally able to picture her in my mind. And one day, I hope I can see what she actually looked like as well. Where's he going? You may now enter Yusawada Field Station with a party of NPC avatars. We just did that. I have to go around by myself now. We've discerned the purpose of the research conducted here. The traces of it that remain might afford us greater insight into what came of it. Let's take a look around for information as well as a way to up to the upper level. Well, I can already tell you that it's been used and employed in the Arcadian for sure. What happened to the people here? Did they all leave? Or did we already meet them? I'm thinking it's the latter one there, kid. I think that people actually volunteered their souls for these experiments. Success was far from guaranteed, and even in the best case, they would cease to be men. Was their devotion to Zeralja so absolute? It won't open, and I don't think it'll yield to our shoulders either. We'll have to do the old-fashioned way and find the key. The lift can be seen beyond the wrought iron gate. As sturdy as it appears, the gate will likely resist attempts to force it open. Security panels nearby. Perhaps a verification key will open the way. wonder what Buck Leg would make of this research in transferring souls. Probably abominable. In fact, I can hear him complaining about it already. The researchers likely moved between the upper and lower levels. Perhaps we can find a key among their belongings. Makes me angry to think about what they did here. Yeah, it's a little fucked up. Recruiting volunteers for a new experiment. I know I'm not as bright as the others, but they wouldn't laugh at me if I was stronger than them. This might be my chance. Soul transferred a few days ago. I can write. Can write good, yes? I am good, very good. Getting hard to control strength. Today bit off hand of feeder. Cannot help it, so strong. Hungry. Always hungry. Cannot control. Eat. I must eat. Am eater. Must eat. Find nothing that resembles a verification key. Perhaps you should search elsewhere. Can you get off my fucking desk? Come on. You can't be up here. Supplies for the staff are neatly arranged within the cabinet. Among the various items is a manual outlining regulations and tranquilizing gas to be used in emergencies. You dig deeper and find a verification key. Perhaps it can be used to open the iron gate. I wonder what the other things to read were. We missed out on those now. Found the key. Great. I'll call the others. Okay. Seems the key can be used to operate the lift as well. Up we go. Not spooky at all. So this is the observatory. I didn't expect it to be similar, but this is a far cry from the temple that held Velagarmonda. All the machinery appears to still be in operation. I expect there are auxiliary systems in place to ensure that monitoring can continue even in emergencies. Warnings indicate various anomalies, related to the seal's failure most likely. For a blessing, we managed to fell the beast before it could cause harm. Right then, let's see if we can find some clues about Gululja's mother. I think I can use this terminal. Shale taught me how. So much data. I don't know what we should look at. Perhaps we can narrow down the search by inputting the name Taishil Jah. Ah, I've brought up a lot of results. They all seem to say the same thing. Taishil Jah, Administrator of Experimental Treatments, Research Logs. Sounds good, doesn't it? Chances are the data is encrypted. Even if not, it will take considerable time to go through it all. Let's take it with us to the back room and have Shale analyze it. Agreed. Alright, I'll transfer it to the storage device that I brought. I brought a USB drive with him. Good thinking. There, it's finished. Wonders of modern technology. Thanks so much for bringing me all the way here, everyone. If you're happy, then so am I. Besides, I was able to learn more about my brother as well. It was a fruitful endeavor for the both of us. Seems safe to say my brother returned to Yotsueda for the Toral Vidrol. He wanted its power, no matter the cost. Glad we could find what we sought in that abandoned facility. Calusa's really good at driving the liver cargo. I wonder if I can learn how to drive it too. We'll not soon forget our visit into that facility. It's a troubling reminder of the depravity that can arise from the belief that souls are simply a resource to be exploited. I'll admit the Toral Vidrol gave me a fright at first, but then I remembered who felled the mighty Valigarmanda. Here we are. The authorities will doubtless wish to be informed about the facility and its contents. But first things first, let us deliver that data to Shale. Let us return to the back rooms. Which, depending on what you're into, that may sound like a crazy person's sentence. Why would you willingly go back to a place like that? Oh, we call this the back room, not what you believe is the back rooms. Different place. Similar names. Oh, she just sells monster energy. Gotcha. What the hell? I didn't know there was someone standing at this shop over here. Back room, please. You found information on Galulja's mother? You lot never cease to amaze. You know, spent some time in these harsh environs, I feel I have a better understanding of how much of a steadying presence Fiend was to her people. Galulja had no trouble keeping up during the outing. He really is his father's son. It was Shale who gave me the storage device before we left. She said that we'd probably need it, and we did. It is in good will be in good hands with Shale. I've been thinking, it may behoove us to learn how to use these various devices all found throughout Alexandria. Better late than never, after all. What I can see, things haven't changed much since the funeral. People are still listless like before. Welcome back. Galulja has already given me the storage device. It looks to be a wealth of data, all of which is encrypted, so I'll need time to process everything. In that case, Alize and I might take ourselves around the city and check on the people. The mood has us a bit worried. I don't know if there's anything we can do to help, but we'll see. Understood. I'll let you know as soon as I finish my work. Thank you. I'll see you again soon. Entering files isn't the hard part. It's when the number of digits in a password is unknown that the long nights begin. Alize isn't wrong. The mood out there is still grim. Some of the Turali remember a time before they were dependent on the Sol system, but even they're unsettled and wondering aloud if they held the chance to reunite with old friends and family before they pass on. With good reason, too. The journey home won't be easy for one for those who've grown old. That's why it's mostly been younger folk who've been leaving for Tural, ones with no elders to care for. Word of that problem has reached us in Tuliolal. My brother is doing all he can to see the Tural Railroad restored to operation, so that people may come and go more freely. Unfortunately, the tracks only go as far as Vanguard, so some traveling by foot will still be necessary. Even so, the railroad would make things a sight easier. How long before it's back in service? I couldn't say. When I left for this visit, Kona seemed reluctant to make promises. But while Shale's working on the data, we can go and see the state of it for ourselves. Shaloni Station, then. I'll make sure to keep Kona informed. We did blow up the previous train, didn't we? We did do that. Oops. We kind of had to get in here. Vow of Resolve. An anti-specifier to boot. What can I do for you? Hoping for some good news about the railroad. There's an increasing number of people looking to return to Tural that can't make the journey on foot. I see. As it happens, the Vow of Reason is also on his way here to take stock of the situation. Ah. Scratch the on his way. Where's Kona? At Aaronville with the new drip. Did our little Bun finally outgrow his old clothes? Stop that. As you well know, my previous attire was that of a gleaner, and I've chosen a different path. It was time for a change. You hear about the railroad too? Well, it was in part for my sake that the original Dawnblazer was sacrificed, so I felt it only right that I assist with its replacement. Speaking of which, I assume Lamati has explained the growing urgency of the need. What have you to report? The locomotive was on track for completion, but we're having difficulty pulling her into the station, in a manner of speaking. You see, when we used the Dawnblazer to get into the dome, urgency outweighed all other considerations. But now we're back to our original problem. How to run the railroad without upsetting the inhabitants of Mohetsuon. That is the Ronik. Though the Hitsaro that follow them are none too pleased about their Hetso being spooked by the noise of the locomotive either. The solution I've devised to quieten the railroad should address that complaint. But a silent train presents a different danger. The Ronik will need to be deterred from wandering across the tracks. I suppose we can't just blow the whistle at them, or they'll panic and be put off their grazing again. Were the routes plotted to avoid the Ronik's preferred grazing areas, though? It's thought that they're getting so close in the first place. Ronik grazing patterns have shifted since the tracks were laid. I'm not certain why, but I intend to ask the Pizza Metsuon for their insight. As a major proponent of the railroad, I have a duty to assist in this matter, and I too would hear what the Hitsaro have to say about it. They are the ones most effective at it, after all. I believe it would be best to begin by consulting their leader, Huato. The rest of you can accompany us to the Hitsaro encampment if you'd like. Okay. Only recently that the Ronik changed their grazing patterns. They didn't stray close to the tracks before. For now, we'll continue work on the silent locomotive as planned. Just hoping that whatever you come up with won't require a total overhaul. Hopefully. Has our little Bun Bun finally outgrown his clothes? Stop that. Cease immediately. Committed to the Hetsaro art of tradition, they are amenable to the unfamiliar, or so I am told. To think all of this can be packed up at a moment's notice to follow wherever the Ronik lead. Our prior visit to Hetsaro was also on railroad business. Pray they do not take us for train enthusiasts. That's Kona, of our reason, is it not? I can scarce believe it. The kid wanted to meet Kona really badly. Well, resolve. Fellow of reason, I bid you welcome to our camp. But what brings you all the way to Metsuon? Thank you for seeing us. Our visit concerns the matter of the Zaktoral Railroad. You too have noted the Ronik's unexpected change in behavior, then. My son, Shepto, has been looking into this matter. Shepto? Normally, we'd expect the Ronik to keep their favored grounds nearby for a while yet. And despite the thorough search, we haven't found anything wrong with the quantity or quality of the grazing in Piarionen and Yatowani. Yet they refuse to keep to where they usually would, instead pushing westward towards your railroad. Certainly see no cause for this unseasonal migration. Nevertheless, should they continue to move west, we will follow. As any true Hetsaro would, I suppose. As you may have surmised, I am of Hetsaro descent. My parents traveled with the Ronik as well, though I myself have no memory of the experience. I was left behind as a babe, you see, during such a migration. One of many sacrifices necessitated by a nomadic lifestyle I am forced to assume. A chance encounter with a kind Pelu merchant was the only reason I survived. Taking pity on me, he taught me his trade that I might fend for myself. Became a stallkeeper in Tuliolo's markets, and that is where the Dawn servant found and adopted me. I had already been in the palace sometime when Amitiwa came to join us. Like me, she had been cast aside by her parents. I knew the pain of solitude and wanted to spare her that suffering. As this tiny child's new brother, I swore I would always be there for her. Truly, I've never heard of the Ronik choosing a path so arduous as to force such a terrible decision. Nor of any Hetsaro willingly leaving their own flesh and blood behind. There must have been some exceptional circumstance. I cannot say. The idea of following in their footsteps that I might better make excuses for their actions never much appealed to me. Even if it help you better understand the Ronik's current behavior? As is so often the case, you are correct. My discomfort with the Hetsaro way may arise from fear of reopening old wounds rather than blind fervor for innovation. It would nevertheless see me repeat past mistakes. And to refuse to learn one of our country's treasured traditions would make me a poor Dawn servant indeed. Please, teach me of the Ronik, and what they mean to you. I promise to listen with an open mind. I'd be delighted. In the meantime, your companions are welcome to look around. We learn of Hitsora culture with me? I should like to approach this with the fervent curiosity that you and my sister share, but it would be useful to know whether I am doing it correctly. That's settled. You'll learn more of the Ronique, and we'll have a look around the plains. And perhaps in the process, we'll find answers we seek. We enjoy to share our traditions with the New Dawn servants, as we once did with Galul Jaja. My knowledge of the culture I was born into is from written accounts alone, and few of them at that. The quickest way to learn about our way of life is do as we do. I hope you're not above manual labor. I'm not the most experienced, I'm ashamed to admit, but I shall put forth every effort. That's all we ask. Take these tools. Now, introduce yourself to anyone who looks busy and ask if you can help. I'll be happy to teach you what to do in exchange for another pair of hands to do it. Let's meet back here later and share what we've learned. Okay. Oh, there's a bunch of people to help out. Learning about the Hitsara way of life, are you? I may have a thing or two to share, but rather than talking your ear off, let me test your powers of deduction. I find answers much easier to recall later if I've arrived at them myself. Our Hetso provide us with something that we use in medicines, pulses, and soap to drive away pests. And to sustain our fires, what is it? Is it dung? Again? Meat and organ... meat? Bones? Hooves? Are hooves bones? Sounds like there's a story there, but that is indeed the correct answer. We've discovered myriad uses for Ronique chips over time, each a boon to our way of life. Where there is a need, our Hetso always provide. Is it dung? Again? That sounds like there's a story there. I'm not gonna get into it. Would rather not explain that one. This won't do, the wind will go right through it. Me without my needle and sinew. Box containing bone, needles, sinew, scraps of hide, and other helpful mending accoutrements. These are precisely what I needed. I should be able to patch up the covering now. Given how often we pack up and reassemble our tents, they're bound to get their occasional tear. Fortunately, the Ronique hide they are made of is durable enough that we generally needn't worry. What the hell is that? Oh, it's someone on their mount. What the fuck is that hovering over there? Some cryptid shit. I'm ready to finish up my task for the time being, but since you're so eager to learn about our way of life, why don't I tell you a bit about our migration customs? If you're here, you likely already know that the Ronique or our Hetso are guides that we travel through the turning of the seasons. We trust them to lead us to fertile lands with all we need to survive. But you may not know that sometimes the herd splits in two, bound for different paths. On those occasions, we Hitsaro must also part with half of our number. You may think it a strange and stressful custom, but over the years it has seen us visit new lands and broaden our horizons as a people. This, too, is the wisdom of the Hetso. Ah. The ruffled Ronique, huh? Here to help? Well then, why don't I show you how to care for a Ronique's coat? Go ahead and run your fingers through it, gently now. As you stroke the Ronique's coat, you note that many portions are shaggy and tangled. This one's fur is a bit overgrown, but a good brushing should thin it out. Would you like to give it a try? You'll need the right tool for the job, mind you. A comb of the type you're used to would just get lost in the tangle, like as not. We got a fur brush. Ah, Geppetto sent a Ronig brush with you, did he? How like him. Now, just run it through one little patch at a time, gently. You'll know when it's too rough, because he'll kick you in the face. You dutifully brush the Ronik until your arms grow weary from the prolonged battle with its coat. It appears much tidier now, though the same cannot be said for your clothes, which have acquired a new coat of their own. Well done. With less excess fur, our friend here will be more comfortable in the afternoon heat, and less susceptible to illness. A combed coat also makes it easier for us to identify injuries, should the need arise. I've always found that the customs and traditions of nomadic peoples is really interesting. You smell the grass and the wind, which is a good thing, I promise. You could nearly be mistaken for one of us, or at least an adventurous Shatona. I have to wonder how Valkona is getting on. I assumed he would be reluctant to get his hands dirty, but it seems his wish to understand us was sincere. Ah, there he is now. He seems to have made a friend. Apologies for my tardiness. I was tasked with grazing the Ronik and ended up rather far afield. I found myself wandering hither and thither at my companion's inclination. To force us back to the trail seemed inappropriate. How was your own work? Have you anything to share? The Ronig are treasured members of this community, as important as family. Indeed, the Ronig provide for the Hitsaro, and in turn the Hitsaro are good to the Ronig, just as family should be. Can I help you? Speaking of family. Mine is not the only way, though at times I lack the experience to know otherwise. My inability to conceive how a decision might be right does not mean that it is wrong. Could you stop with the microphone? What do you need? You have 2 bowls of water and a bowl of food. There's no way you need anything. What are you doing? Could you stop? No, don't get, no, you came up here. You came up here. Don't get all like, oh, don't touch me. When you came up here rubbing all over me, what did you think was gonna happen? Did you think I wasn't going to grab you and hold the kitty? It's too late now. You did this to yourself. My parents had a duty to the Ronik as they did to me, so I wonder if their leaving me behind was not so selfish as an act as I once believed. I have no way to know, of course, and regardless, this has no bearing on our present concerns. We're here in service of the people of Tyrol, after all. Nevertheless, I thank you for helping me find a deeper meaning in what we've done today. And I will endeavor to remain curious, especially where the Hetzo are concerned. I'm glad to hear that, Valkona. You're welcome among our herd anytime. What are our offerings? Wild banana blends. Oh, I could go for one of those right now. Roast Ronique sounds really good. Fruit and aloe jelly also sounds super good. The warmth of a family. Well, because we know who Muklamot's parents are. I don't think we actually ever find out who Kona's are. I wonder if we find that out here. Kona, how did it go? I believe I finally understand the significance of the Hetzo. They nourish the Hitsaro as they grow and provide warmth and companionship in a harsh and unpredictable world. They are the equal of any man, not beasts to be tamed. Moreover, Ronique are sensitive. Though we may treat their injuries and brush their coats to keep them hale, they must ever be free to follow their instincts and seek lands where they might thrive. The Hitsaro would never cage them, and neither should we. To control their migratory patterns or capture those who wander too close to the tracks is out of the question. It's particularly important to advance our original line of inquiry. Fortunately, we were able to visit the Ronique's once favored grazing grounds. As we were told, the grass looks fine, but the place is too quiet. Not just the Ronique, even the birds and field mice have fled. We did encounter one pack of Certoraptors, but they looked to be passing through in a hurry. Typically, that sort of behavior in the fauna would be associated with natural disasters, earthquakes, landslides, and the like. So the Hitsaro would have surely put two and two together with the cause geological. I measured the area's aether to be certain there was indeed nothing to suggest recent environmental disruption, but I did notice one anomaly. A strong etheric signature to the east, moving across the plain, albeit slowly. What do you think, Kona? Given where we are, I believe we're dealing with a powerful beast. A predator, perhaps, given the local fauna's behavior. One of the raptors we saw looked like it had a bite taken out of its tail, by something with very large fangs. It couldn't be. A Turohetso. The Turohetso? Ronique Reaver, in the common tongue. Our people have several names for such creatures. Fangs that steal Hetso in the night is another evocative one. Ronique can fend off many predators with their horns, but not the Turohetso. Their scales are as tough as adamant. Neither horn nor arrow can pierce them. A well-toothed carnivore with an unusually tough hide. Cannot recall any such fauna in this region. They usually roam the wilds to the northeast, and most herds keep well clear of them. I can't tell you why this one is so far from home and it's packed to booth. In any case, I believe the source of the Ronique's consternation is clear. As our next move, we must drive this reaver away, that they may return to their grazing lands in peace. It's to be a hunt, then. Never fear, we'll make certain that the beast threatens you no more. He made friend. Oh, I didn't even realize what time it was. Do